So for anyone who caught the question last week, I asked if you noticed anything different about what you saw in the frame. There's something different in the studio. It was actually this. A couple people figured it out. Is this beautiful side table that I'm using that works as a standing desk, but more importantly, it's just a side sort of rig on wheels that has my keyboard, my mouse, this KeyStep 37 from Arturia, and then it also holds my monitor for my computer. So I actually have essentially my computer rig separate from my studio desk. So they're right next to each other, so I can roll up and get in the sweet spot when I want to, but then I can also stand up, stretch my legs. I love it. It's so awesome. I put the link in the description if you guys want to check this out. So today we're going to Daniel Donato's Epic Home Studio, and it is really cool because it's another garage converted into a studio with a living space upstairs, and the downstairs is perfectly set up for him. So he's got a bunch of guitars, a bunch of amps. If you've never heard of Daniel, he is a super successful guitar player here in Nashville. He has a band called Cosmic Country. They just totally shred, and it's a cool hybrid between country and just stellar cosmic Jerry Garcia style shredding. It's so awesome. Daniel's a really great guy, a deep thinker, a good, fun guy to talk to. I had an amazing time hanging out with him. He has a record coming out soon. He has his own podcast, which is really good. It's called The Lost Highway, and he's had a bunch of incredible guests, including Steve Vai. So if you want to go check out his podcast, strongly recommend that. So shout out to Daniel. I put all of his links down in the description. Thank you for inviting me over, letting us go through your stuff and just chat. Such a good hang. Give Dan a follow. Go check out his podcast. He's going on the road soon. Yeah, just an awesome dude. Shout out to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. If you guys didn't know, Sweetwater sponsors all of these home studio tours. And also, if you didn't know, I do these on this channel every single Monday. You can check them out. There's some sort of epic studio that I'm going to, and we just get to geek out over all the gear. And if you like buying epic gear, obviously you can use Sweetwater. I use them to get everything. I've had a Sweetwater card forever. I got my R88 from them. I got my WA273, which I love. AMS Neve 33609, which, by the way, I uploaded a video last week. Check out the video on the Neve 33609. I think it's called Epic Drum Sounds with this compressor or something like that. I had Peyton Hilliard from Leland come over. We tried it out on overheads and on rooms. It was super fun. Put links to all the stuff that I use and talk about in the description. It's a great, easy way to support the channel. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring the video. Thank you guys for hitting the like button and just supporting, commenting, geeking out with me. Have some really fun ones, including today's video, which is amazing. But make sure you're subscribed if you're not, because it's getting really fun. So also, if you didn't know, at ANDREWMASTERSmusic.com, you can actually book a Zoom call consultation. There's mixing, drums, so all the services listed here at ANDREWMASTERSmusic.com. Check those out if those sound interesting to you. Go to the Instagram. I've been doing these extra little shorts as little teasers. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I don't know if you use that, or even TikTok. There's a TikTok account you might be able to find with some stuff on there. Okay, let's go check out Daniel's Epic Home Studio. Hey, dude.
All right.
Thank you for having me over here. This is a beautiful room that you have here. I'm really, really digging it.
I'm glad you think so.
This is the perfect quintessential home studio.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's epic. I mean, look at that back wall over there.
I think for me, it's my cottage. It's my Walden. It's like where I can come and unpack what just happened throughout the day or throughout a tour. Yeah. And so it's where the podcast happens, it's where writing happens, it's where rehearsal happens, and lastly, it's where recording happens. And I'm not trying to like put out like records that I make in here. And so I think kind of having that expectation allows for me to have a place where there's work in progress, then there's also order.
What a collection of fun instrument related stuff.
Yeah.
A bit of video world and then audio world.
Yeah, exactly, right? So there's content, there's hardware, there's creation.
And cosmic chill zone.
We're currently behind my parents' house, but there was a period of time where I had a house. That was like my first adult purchase, and then when I moved in here, I had this couch for years and I spilled paint all over the couch. Yeah. And so my mom ordered me a cosmic couch cover from Amazon. This was a garage. This was my dad and I planning. Like, so we'll have someone put up drywall. Okay, we'll have someone come in and wire it up for electricity. Okay, well, we're gonna have to paint it. We're gonna have to put carpet in here because it's a garage. Oh, so Dan, you paint it. Well, Dan's never painted anything. So I spilled paint over so many things, this white paint. And it's on some of my guitars still, and it just destroyed the couch. But, you know, when life gives you lemons, Go to Amazon.
The garage door is
behind that wall. Yeah, so there's actually storage. So it's where all the soft shells and the hard shells are stored. It's where like merchandise is stored.
Love that. And there's an upstairs.
And there, that's where I live.
Yeah,
for now.
And it's nice up there.
It is nice. It's almost like I'm back in my high school bedroom, just a little bit larger, a little bit more evolved. So I kind of pretend that when I come back home. More guitar, just more.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the watchword of the world that we live in. It's
Yeah.
like more. And so it's more, but it's like I can come down here and I can play for 4, 5, 6 hours and go have a sandwich in my mom's kitchen.
How long have you been playing guitars?
26 now. I started when I was 12. It's over half my life. And it's been an intense focus since 14. Like it's been every day. There hasn't been a single day where there hasn't been at least a portion of the day devoted to guitar.
Do you remember a time when you were young where you were like, I really want to get a guitar?
No, man. I always had one. My dad gave me one.
Yeah.
And he tried to get me to play, and I didn't want to play. I think it's that kind of thing where you have a disposition for a wealth of high resolution things in life, and then as life goes on, your taste changes and those things come in and they come and go.
So do you still have your first guitar?
I don't, and I had a mini one, but I sold it.
Yeah.
I don't really get attached to guitars. I'll play one guitar forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this sense of having volume of instruments, I guess it's more on the collector side of just wanting to obtain objects.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the functionality, like I play one guitar usually for months on end, sometimes years, really.
And it's that Telly.
It's actually that one right there. That's my main axe all day long. Me with a Telly, man, my dad was a Strat player. He got me a Strat. Yeah. And man, I love it. And when we moved to Nashville, I remember going to Guitar Center and being like, what is that thing? Like, what's that? And it was a Telly. Yeah. He's like, oh, that's for country guitar. Like, you don't want to play country. You don't want nothing to do with that. Like, I think I'd
Guitar Center, we do rock and roll here.
Well, now that I'm saying it, it's kind of like that movie, like that scene from Walk Hard.
Yes.
Where he's like, you don't want none of this.
Turns all your bad feelings into good feelings.
It's
a nightmare.
Is it habit forming? Non-habit forming at all. You don't want none of this. It's like, that's how the Telly was. You don't want it. He's like, doesn't sound good. He's like, no legendary guitar players play him.
Beautiful. What is that, a twin?
Yeah, just a Fender Twin and straight in. And that's the new thing for me. My specific thing has always been a Telly through a Fender amp with not a lot in between.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, I have a lot of friends that do studio work all the time, and their thing is to be a chameleon, to where, they have 2 Eventide H9s, they have a lot of Strymon hardware, they have a lot of cutting edge technology that helps them be useful in their particular domain. My thing is like more traditional. We get into this realm, man, where there's so many options and there's so many things. It's very easy to go and get lost in all these types of gear. But it's like the more that I find I have less boundaries to create within, the less creative I get. That's why I love a simple guitar through a simple amp. It's like, if you can make that work, I can make anything else work. But if you can only make the really advanced thing work, the more you scale it back, it's gonna be hard to make it work. So this one I'm really excited about, the Fender Twin Reverb Tone Master. Right, it looks like a Fender, sounds like a Fender, smells like a Fender, but under the hood, it actually has a profiler that emulates other Fender Twin Reverb. Yeah, so it has solid state Fender, weighs 21 pounds. There's the XLR in the back.
Wow, that's cool.
I know, so it goes right into my Apollo, and so I can track directly in there, and it sounds like a Fender. Fender Deluxe Reverb, I think the Deluxe Reverb is just like, it's the turkey sandwich of amps. Like, it's really hard to beat a Deluxe Reverb.
Yeah.
And so this is one that I had. I took the volume knob off of it on purpose.
Oh.
Because I feel like on an amp like this, it works for so many settings that if I know what the volume is, I might get stuck thinking that it sounds better at another one or something like that. It's like, some things you don't need a visual cue.
Yeah.
Because if it's on 6, then I'm gonna be playing lighter because I don't want it to break up.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that it's gonna start being too crunchy, and then, I've seen someone play an amp on 6 and it sounds bad, so I'm not gonna, but sometimes it needs to be on 6.
Yeah.
So if it's better, then I don't know. So the Vibrolux Reverb, 40 watt amp, 2 speakers. I don't like to go more than 40 watts. So I have a Vibrolux and then In storage, I have a Pro reverb as well. This is 24 watts, the deluxe reverb. The way that I look at the differences between amps is how loud are they and how many speakers are in them.
Okay.
And
beautiful.
Right, and then also, what is their particular sound?
Yeah.
So what's their sauce?
Yeah.
If you will, right? So deluxe reverb amp, Vibrolux reverb amp. So they're from the same line in some sense, but the deluxe has its own sonic sauce. The Vibrolux has its own sonic sauce.
Okay.
Aside from the sonic sauce, you also have physical fundamental differences, where this one is louder, it has more speakers. This one is less loud, it has less speakers. And so the more I'm aware of all these variables, I get more in my own way. Having said that, I know everything. Like, I know everything I'm using, you know?
Yeah.
And I have specific, I like to use Weber speakers. This amp is astounding. This is Elliott made amp, and this is an amp called the Revenuer. I never veer from Fender. Like I said, I love consistency, but this amp's insane. It just is a brilliant circuit designed by someone who has good taste, in short. But it sounds more like a Marshall, or like more like a Bassman, which is what a Marshall actually was modeled after. Vibrochamp amp, owned by Steve Earle, bought it at Carter Vintage Guitars. These amps, I'm actually bringing them into repair. Amps are always breaking. You know, that's why you gotta really love the year that you have, and that's why I actually always go with older amps, man. Because the ones that have a long history of working, they actually tend to stay working.
Yeah.
In my experience with them. Princeton reverb, right, so that's your small popcorn, that's your medium popcorn, that's your large popcorn. Are these three silver faced amps that we've been seeing here, and the Princeton's your small popcorn. One speaker, 12 to 14 watts. This one's insane. This is, I think, John Mayer used this on I Think I Just Feel Like too. When I was working professionally down on Broadway, I had one gig, we played 4 nights a week, and if I brought anything new in, my boss, who was much older than me, much more experienced, and was ultimately right, he would raise his eyebrow. He went to the store with me and helped me pick out a beautiful Fender Pro Reverb, you know, made sure my pickups were set up right by Joe Glazer, everything was, my guitar was set up right, like everything was good to go. The horse was healthy. And then I would add something to the horse. He's like, don't get in the way of the beast. Just learn how to ride the beast really well. People might be coming to this video hoping to see some very ornate, you know, pedals, and I really do respect that, and I understand that, and I do, but with what I'm trying to do right now, it's like, how do I make someone go, ooh, and then when they go look at it, they're like, no way, that's all the time, like that's my goal. Because if you have a big set of magic tricks like behind you, then people will be like, oh, well, it's that pedal, that's why you sound so good. It's like David Blaine can eat glass before your eyes, and he really is just eating glass. Like, he doesn't need anything behind him. He is the magic. It's like, so can I plug in through a twin, through a guitar, and make people go, ooh, yeah. And the thing that's beautiful about approaching music that way is that the road never ends. Gear can eventually end. And it's like, that's the thing. Because the second I know that something, like I have a different compressor on my board, it's gonna affect my performance. Is it at the right setting? Is in the right part of the chain? And it's like, the thing that's actually making the difference, mostly, is gonna be your mental classification of the situation, and then the way that you improvise within the present. If you look at this board, everything stays except one pedal. I purposely don't put any Velcro on it because I love the yin and yang of chaos and order a lot. And so I'm a really big, like, I love order and I love consistency. And so I want to have one piece on here that's chaos. So it's always freaking flying around.
Let's see what this brings out in me.
And since it's out of line, I'll change it every now and then, and I'll have a different variable, but everything else stays the same. I really don't even change the settings.
Sometimes the way that I think about like a pedal or an amp or something is like a book. You know, like maybe you know the writer, but the writer did something different in this story, and like turning that pedal on is going into this world for a little bit. And then you can just close that book and turn that world off, but you're not that world, you just went there for a minute.
Oh, yeah, transportation. Man, that's astounding. I love that. The pedal that does that the most, I would say, would be the Eventide H9. You can get all kinds of tones out of it.
It's coming out of the speakers and the amp. I love that.
That's the way I run it.
Love that.
That's the way I run it. It is a home studio, right?
Yeah, man. That's the H9?
Right, so that's cosmic, right? And again, yin and yang, chaos and order, cosmic and country. That's the way I look at it, man. And so most of this is country. So it's a clean tone that's treated really well. And so it's reverb, compression, And like, that's pretty much what I use the whole show.
Yeah.
And then I have slapback delay. Then I have a tap tempo delay for. And then I have a couple, I have 3 gain stages. And this is like the Tre Anastasio.
Oh yeah.
Where really I can just like let it hold forever. I really just like, especially if I have all 3 on and some delay, and then the Jerry thing. And then the Cosmic Country Phaser. This thing's insane.
Oh.
Real-time looper. So it takes a sample of what I just hit and it loops it in these incredibly small frames of sound. And so I use this for in between songs live.
Oh yeah.
So there's no dead air ever. A live show is very much like a movie. So I write out the set list in 3 song segments, because 3 songs is a scene. And this goes between kind of scene to scene. It's a lot, man, but nothing really changes on here except this one pedal every now and then. I would suggest, again, give yourself confines that are thoughtful and conducive to the success that is meant for you as an individual. I start my mornings often when I'm home with music. And so I'll wake up at 7 a.m. and I'll come down here, and from 7 to 7:30, the first thing that comes to my mind, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna loop it, I'm gonna play over it for 10 minutes, I'm gonna bounce it. Right now I'm reviewing a live show that we do this thing called Danny's Picks. These are like freaking 46 songs that I've written since like 2019 that I'm gonna distill down to a record. And that's where that's coming from, where it's like, can I go play the song on acoustic and see how it sounds and listen back to it and believe myself.
And you're using a MacBook here.
Yeah, MacBook Pro, and the MacBook Pro comes on the road with me. I love the Touch Bar. Apollo Twin, yep, and I'm gonna use it till the wheels fall off, because again, I just like what it is. And
what is this thing?
so this is a hairband. I put this on my, it's an extension for channels.
Pre's, yeah.
Yeah, it's 8 Pre's. Yeah, it's a Tascam Series 8P Dyna. This is for my podcasting, the Lost Highway podcast.
Go follow
episodes with Joe Bonamassa, Steve Vai, and other, a lot of people that aren't just guitar players too, a lot of business owners, and I use the Machina.
And you got the KRK magnet or something?
Yeah, KRK Rockets. Yeah, this is for the old, if something comes to me and I want to share it with the world, you should set up the opportunity to do so.
Yes.
And it's like, because it's free. Yeah, that's what this ring light is, and or I just put the phone on there. And so, man, I just use Logic. I like the UAD stuff. I pretty much have all of it. But that's really, I like the Joey Sturgis stuff, and I like Isotope for mastering simulation. I hope that the inspiration, if anyone feels some from this video, is that all of my friends have all of the things, and I'm perfectly fine with not having all the things, because it's like, I don't need all those things to do what I do. You know? So this is my main Telecaster. This guitar is, I got it new.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's like a lot of hard work, persistence, patience, and positivity going into this instrument.
Yeah.
And we have those lights right there. It's just kind of for the content creation side of things. It's our green screen too that comes down. Yeah, these are some of my most favorite guitars in here. This is a 1 of 1 from Paul Reed Smith Baritone SE series. Again, very cheap guitar in terms of price point.
Yeah.
Not cheap in terms of potential. This one is, this is the Bob Weir D'Angelico model, and Bob Weir is my biggest hero. Like, he's musically my biggest hero.
That's so cool.
And this is his signature guitar. So when it came out, D'Angelico had me be a part of the content and the marketing campaign to help promote the guitar. I love Music Man guitars. I think they're really cool, really efficient. These are all 1 of 1s.
Cool.
Yeah, we were talking about doing a signature model years ago, and I'm just not like famous enough to like have a signature model. So
yet.
Exactly. This is where I think we would end up going, and something that's kind of Albert Lee-like, that's inspired by Bob Weir, where it's 3 pickups, a lot of space between the pickup and the neck, because that's what a pedal steel does. You get a whole different mid-range when you have that much space between the neck and the pickups. James Valentine model, Cutlass, Couple Fender USA mades, a Jerry Garcia. I think it's like a South Korean is where they made it, or Taiwan, or somewhere where the quality isn't the biggest thing as opposed to the quantity.
Yeah.
And I kind of like a cheap funny guitar like that.
Yeah.
It sounds insane. It sounds great. And it's a Jerry guitar, so
that's cool.
Anything Jerry I'm happy with. Revelator, Jazzmaster. I'm a big Chris Stapleton fan. He plays the Jazzmaster. So all rosewood neck, Cosmic Country Smiley logo. Really cool guitar, man. Really sounds beautiful.
I love that color too. I don't see a lot of that.
Candy apple red with a little bit gold underneath. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's a trend that's happening with guitars right now, where there's a cool color underneath the main finish that you see. So, you know, in Nashville, a lot of people might get on me about this, but I love Taylor guitars. Everyone loves Martins, but I think Taylors are, in terms of engineering, like the most advanced acoustic guitars you could buy that still sound true to them. The original, like, acoustic sound that you might have in your mind. This Grand Pacific is insane, especially when it's in tune, but I just love this. The engineering behind this is just brilliant, and it's so cool. Andy Powers designed it. And so I'll come down here and I'll sit down here, and as you can see, I have all kinds of songs I'm running through. Put a Rode NT5 on the 12th fret. I turn the light on and I pretend there's people in here, and does it feel authentic or not? And a lot of times it doesn't. You just gotta keep pushing it away and keep working, you know. It is just the place. The art that's in here is very pretty specific to what my taste is, and the Cosmic Country Cottage.
Everybody, you know, for watching this, go follow Daniel, go check out the podcast.
Yeah, The Lost Highway, and new record coming out August 27th. A lot of dates coming up, yeah. All on my website.
Okay, cool. I'll put the links for everything down below. Top 3 musical inspirations as a music fan.
Oh man, Willie Nelson, Grateful Dead, and I'm gonna say John Prine.
Top 3 songwriter like inspirations.
I'd say Robert Hunter, who wrote a lot of songs for the Grateful Dead. John Prine just has this way of being himself. Right now, it's like Bob Dylan. It's like earlier Bob Dylan. It's like Nashville Skyline, 1969, but then it's also like Harlan Howard or like Tom T. Hall, which are just like these old like country songwriters that are just like, they just have these brilliant songs like Love's Gonna Live Here. Yeah. And these simple choruses, Hank Williams and Willie Nelson and Lefty Frizzell and Waylon Jennings, Bob Wills. Really simple country songwriters.
And then living in Nashville, doesn't have to be 3, but top 3 favorite experiences as a musician artist.
Playing down on Broadway for tourists that don't have any expectation of what you're gonna be.
Yeah.
That's really fun. It's a great opportunity because it shows you how people are so similar.
Yeah.
Musically, like what gains a reaction out of somebody, or what elicits a reaction, or what doesn't.
Yeah.
That's been a phenomenal experience. So doing that by busking, doing that by playing in the bars, I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. I'd say being able to be a fly on the wall, and then also eventually be able to participate in real Autobahn speed recording sessions, where you have to get things right.
Yeah.
Because if you're the weak link in the chain, then the whole chain is starting to depreciate in value. Yeah. And therefore the whole song starts to tumble a little. Yeah. So working with producers that really have to get things done, and like show up at 10, don't be late, be a pro. Yeah. You know, that I wouldn't change that for the world. Having the opportunity to travel enough and go work in New York, go work in LA, go work in Austin, be like, you know, Nashville's really a thing, like, but it's a thing. Yeah. And so you don't have to be that thing if you're not that thing. Yeah. So I would say just having experience and then coming back to Nashville would be like my 3rd favorite thing about it, because there's so many players here that you can go and talk to that played with Merle Haggard, or that played with George Jones, or that he played with Willie and played with Waylon Jennings, or people that toured with the Dead as stagehands, and like everyone lives here. And so being able to have experience and go talk to people who have the experience, that helps you have a better experience moving forward. So the network and proximity effect of Nashville would be like my 3rd favorite thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Yeah, man, thank you.
Bye, everybody.